Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys in response to a comment I got. Just sipping my water, get my radio voice going. Give you guys a forearm shot. Let's talk about this. All right, this is one of these points I'm going to hit home because I really and truly believe, based upon the sum total scientific evidence, that the carnivore diet is probably the worst thing anyone has ever come up with. I would even go so far as to say it may actually in some ways be worse than a standard American diet. Other than a lot of people lose weight on it, and that's probably the only redeeming thing that keeps it from being worse. And that's kind of the take home. Literally, the ability to create a calorie deficit on it is the only reason it is not worse than a standard American diet. That's it. It's ridiculous. And so when people say you can't deny the Jordan Peterson thing and Michaela, yes, you absolutely can. And here's the thing. Jordan Peterson has caused an enormous amount of harm by promoting this, to the point where, irrespective, because I don't care what his other opinions are, I don't follow his work, that because he has created so much harm by popularizing the carnivore diet, his net evil contribution to humanity is evil. Okay? Because I always say that we balance the scales. None of us are completely good or completely bad. It's all about balancing the scales in life. And in this case, any good he could have done, whether you believe that it's good or not, is offset by the sheer destructive evil that he's caused by this. Because it is really stupid. And the thing with his daughter's IBS, what people have to understand, there are other methods of treating IBS that are more effective. That you don't just go to the extreme of cutting out all vegetables from your diet long term. That's ludicrous, because you're going to kill yourself with other stuff. In other words, okay, so you've temporarily alleviated symptoms of the condition. And just as many people following a low FODMAP approach have better approaches. And you need to consult. And a lot of times people have trouble with this because they don't follow dietary recommendations. I know lots of people who, they get dietary recommendations for whatever illness they have, and then they don't follow it fully. You know, and this is why you have problems. Just like people who have had celiacs. There have been so many cases of people diagnosed with celiacs who are like, well, I occasionally try to work a small piece of bread in. Well, you can't do that, ever. That's it. There's for life. You have celiacs, you don't touch gluten even in trace amounts. You don't. And if you do, then you're stupid. So we come over to this thing of, if you cut your vegetables to zero, and this is not my opinion, this is evidence and data from country after country after country after country. All right, vegetable intake is inversely correlated with cancer rates, cardiovascular disease, all these things. And it's not just a small difference. It's even inversely correlated with obesity. In other words, statistically, people who eat very large amounts of vegetables get all of these diseases at dramatically lower rates than people who don't. It's not a small difference. It's enormous. It's one of the largest lifestyle factors. It is up near the top. So it's things like fruit and vegetable intake. You're taking them to zero. What you are doing is dramatically increases your chances of getting cancer and various cardiovascular disease. And then people say, well, I know this person who never had those, or I did whatever carnivore for 20 years. Nobody's been doing carnivore for 20 years. Shut up. This is a fairly new phenomenon. You haven't gone over 20 years without eating vegetables. And if you have, don't tell me your health is perfect, because I know it's not. But you also, if you haven't gotten cancers and things, you've just gotten lucky. That is on par with someone saying, I played one round of Russian roulette and I'm still alive. Therefore, Russian roulette's not dangerous. That is the level of logic. Because 5 out of 6, you're still alive, right? It's not dangerous. I'm alive. I don't think it's risky. Now, people say you can't compare a carnivore diet to a 1 in 6 chance you're going to die right there from it. Really? I think we could take it to 3, and I think you could run 3 in the chamber. I think that's on par with the carnivore diet. Trying to do a carnivore diet long term is literally like playing Russian roulette with 3 in the chamber, not with 1. I think that's a reasonable, completely reasonable assessment. So you come over to the point of that. You got Peterson, who has promoted this nonsense. That is causing harm. You need to do some internal housekeeping, Jordan. And let's set all that stuff aside. What about the long-term effects for your gut health? People are doing this oftentimes for severe IBS. Okay, well, what happens when you've been doing it for a year or 2 and you have gut flora extinction? Again, my friend Alex Leaf, he did graduate work in protein overfeeding. It's one of the guys I've cited for some of that. I'm friends with him and his wife, Brianna. They've repeatedly pointed this out. This is a problem. The gut flora extinction is a real thing. And once your gut flora from getting no fiber for food have died off, you may not be able to get them back. So now you're going to have an almost untreatable, bigger version of IBS in the long term. Okay? There may be no coming back from it. Now, there is certain success rates with fecal transplants. For those not curious, that is literally what it sounds like. Someone else's fecal matter is taken out and put inside you to try to reproliferate your gut flora. There is some success with that, but it's not 100%. This is the problem you're creating with this sort of nonsense. And so people will say, well, you can't deny. Well, you can deny anything you want because the data doesn't support it. And a few case studies of people having some improvements when you don't know what else they did because people are claiming it. We're not talking about these medical doctors and dietitians are documenting what she did or didn't do or her current stuff in health. They're not documenting this. This is a person claiming it. All right? This is just a person claiming it. You don't have real documentation of it and the benefits and how supposedly healthy she is now. And then what do we say? What happens if 3 years from now she gets cancer? Gets a severe cancer and dies from it. Are people then going to say, well, you can't deny the effectiveness? Right? Come on. It's ridiculous. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. And I'll talk to you guys next time.